Okay, it's time to finalize. Now I do need to mention that I forgot one piece at the end of the last video. After we've added a new score, we need to resort the scores. So right here you're just going to call sort scores. And that will go through the list and reorganize them so the proper ones are in the proper order. And it will use that num scores variable to make sure that it's only doing the ones that are actually full. All of the other ones will be ignored. Alright, so now how do we tie this together? Well, now we have to go to the main program. Now in the main program, we need to create an instance of the scoreboard variable. So we have to call the constructor and specify how many scores are going to be in our score array. So in here, I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to create this as a global variable, and we're going to set the scoreboard, let's call it board, equal to a new scoreboard. I have to specify its size. Let's make it 5. And that's it. We now have a scoreboard. Now, of course, we haven't actually done anything. Now in your game, the player is going to play the game, and then they're going to achieve a certain score, and then you're going to try and insert that score. We don't have time to do all that stuff. So what we're going to do is we're just going to try and manually force it. So I am going to quickly create a variable called score. Actually, you know what? No, we're not going to do that. We're just going to manually do it. No, I like variables. So let's say int score, and we're going to set it equal to 100. And we're going to go through the same process we're going to do for all 5 scores. But for every once in a while, we're going to display the scoreboard just to see what it looks like. Now remember, sort scores is not currently implemented, so the scores are not going to be sorted. But that's okay. So for this one, say if board dot, where is it? Just gonna make sure we're calling the right functionality. Board dot is score eligible. Board, my goodness, dot is score. Why is this not coming up? Not sure why this is not coming up. And this value that we're going to be testing is going to be score. Why are we getting an error for our board variable here? I cannot make a static reference. Oh, we forgot to make this because this is a global variable inside of our main. We have to make this static. You'll notice that we didn't have to do that in here because these are not static classes, whereas main is a static class. So if it is eligible, if this returns a true, then I want to add the score. Then board dot add score. We're going to give it the name, I don't know, let's call it Bob. And we'll have the value score, which is the variable that we have at the top there. And now we're going to do this for 2 more. We're just going to reassign score. Score is equal to, I don't know, 53. And then we're just going to copy and paste this exact same thing right below it. And this guy's going to be Bill. And we're going to do the exact same thing one more time. And we'll make this one 212. And this guy's going to be Ted. Now, at this point we've added 3 scores out of the maximum 5. One thing we didn't, no, actually that's fine. So, so we've added 3 out of the maximum 5. Now if we go to display this right now, hopefully if we did everything correct, we should see it show up down in the bottom here. So we're going to say board dot display scores, and that's it. Hopefully we will get Bob 100 followed by Bill 53 and then Ted 212. Now remember, the scores aren't sorted. So we run our program and we get an error. We get an array out of bounds, a -1. So let's go take a look. This looks like it appeared in scoreboard Java line 45. So we go over here and we try and figure out what the error is. Where's line 45? Right here. Num score is -1. num scores is 0, minus 1 is -1. Yes, of course we can't do that. That makes sense. So the problem here is that when there's 0 scores in the array and we try and call is score eligible, 0 minus 1 is -1, which is a bad index for the scores array. So we can't do that. So basically what we can say is we can do a little bit of an if statement before this that says, hey, if we have less than maximum scores, it's automatically true. We can actually add the score in no matter what. It is definitely eligible. So what we could do is we can do a separate if statement, or we can do an or statement here. But just to keep it clean, I'm going to do a separate if statement so you can see the difference. So if num scores is less than max scores, we definitely have room, so insert it. So we can just say return true. Okay. Otherwise, you could have said if num scores is less than max scores, or scores at num scores at I dot get score, and it wouldn't break at that point because it wouldn't check the second part if the first part was already true, because it's an or statement. Either one would be okay. All right. So let's save this. Let's go back to our main program and let's try running it again. And there we go. We get Bob 100, Bill 53, and Ted 212, and a nicely formatted clean list. And that's it. That's all we have to do. So that's our entire program. We have it built up of 3 classes. We have a high score class. We have the main program, which is built up of one scoreboard object. The scoreboard object is made up of an array of high score objects. So we've seen how to create individual. We've seen how to create individual elements. Here we did it with a single board. Inside of scoreboard, we did it when we added a score. And we've also seen how to create an array of objects. Here we did it here. We created it first to define it, and then we initialized its size right here once we knew how big it was going to be. And then that's it. After that, we were able to use it. Now remember, to use it, all you have to do is call it by its name, in this case board, and then you use the dot operator and call whatever functionality that is public inside. So just to show you how this actually works, I can create an error here just by going inside of the board class and changing add score to be private. And if I do this, it's going to tell me that it doesn't know that it exists. So we go over here, we already have an error message popping up. It's saying, hey, there's a problem here. The method add score from the type scoreboard is not visible. What that means is it can't see it. It doesn't know that it's there. And that's because we just made it private. By making it public, it means it's accessible, it's visible. And that's it. That's all there is that we're going to talk about in the basic introduction of object-oriented programming. We'll go into more detail in the grade 12 class, but this should give you everything you need to know to apply it to other things like particles and stuff like that, all sorts of fun things. Okay, thanks for watching, and talk to you soon.